Hello, after quite a long hiatus. I'm going to talk this video about for each loops, as it is a topic that has not really been in my videos yet, and it certainly appears on things like the AP exam, and it's a really convenient type of loop for um, going through things like arrays and array lists just for printing purposes, or if you don't know exactly how many items are in there. Um, and so we're going to look at it here. And I'm going to talk about some of the drawbacks and some of the benefits as well. So I'll name it for each example, and this is just going to be a basic little program. And to start out, I'm going to make let's make just some array. And we'll make it a string array. And, you know what, I'm just going to make it a bunch of random words here. Purple, potato, turnip, and phantom. And you would say, okay, well, how would I print this out with a normal for loop? As you may recall, doing this does not print out my loop. If I run the program, it'll compile and it will print out the address of my array. And you can see that's obviously not what I'm looking for. So how do I do this? Well, instead, I'll make a quick for loop. Where it goes from 0 through the length of the array. And I won't just print examples, I will print examples at index I. So I run and then I get my array items printed out. You can also use the arrays library API in the API, but we're not going to do that right now. So if I were to use a for each loop, how would that change things? Well, in Java, for each loops look at each item, save it to a variable that you can then use later. So for example, this is an array of strings, so I would like to print out a string. So I'll take some string s from my array, and I will print out whatever s I happen to be on. Now this is a for each loop. It says for each string that I will temporarily call s in the array, meaning for each string in the array, for every string in the array, I'm going to go through and I'm going to print it out. And this will do quite the same thing as the other loop. Now notice one thing. I can't really go in and modify examples because I have no index. What index would I use here? I wouldn't use s. S is a string. And you'll notice that for each isn't really useful for modifying an array. It's really good for looking at an array, and that's how we're going to use it here. I can certainly say if s.length is greater than, say, 6, yeah, I think that'll print one thing. If s.length, the string I'm picking out at the moment, is less than 6 in terms of length, then print it out. And the only one that has a length greater than 6 is phantom. If I say less than or equal to 6, I'll print out all my other 3. So you can go through and do what most loops have here. If you want to modify individual items, first I would not recommend, well, first you would have to have some index that you'd go through. You might say int index or equals 0. Maybe I'll increment each index at the end, and then I might say index, or oops, at index is equal to string. And so I'd run through and I do that, but it certainly won't be very useful. And then if I do this again, maybe I'll system.out.println something like that. You'll notice that everything's been replaced with string then. If you're going to be using this with array lists, which are dynamically sized, then you're not going to be able to really add or remove when you use a for each loop. But for now, for each loops are simply good for breaking up some array into its elements for the purpose of printing or reading, and a little less convenient for writing. And that will end the video.